Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome. Welcome. Happy Friday. Welcome to my channel. My name is Sadhana. For those of you that are new, popping in for the first time, I am a tarot reader, among other things. And I have been culling my tarot deck collection, just generally speaking, spending some time reducing the amount of stuff I have in my life. And so, what I want to share with you today are a few more decks that are leaving my collection. I did spend some time this morning going through and editing the description box below. And so I want you to know that there was a video last Friday where I shared a bunch of decks that I'm selling. Hi, Joseph. And so I have included those below with the link to last week's video so you can go and see what's still available. As well, I'm going to say about a year ago I did this. I'm not sure how long ago it was. There were also two videos, and I have included a few the decks that are available that I didn't sell. So those are also linked below. So I've been trying to just kind of organize all the stuff that's going on so I can reduce the size of my case. There's also going to be a part 3 to this where I will be sharing with you a bunch of oracle decks that I'm selling as well too. So maybe next week, maybe next Friday, we'll see how that goes. So so welcome, and let's just have a great chat this afternoon. I'm going to be on again in a little bit. I'm doing a bit of a forum, a Marielle forum with Chris from Elemental Cartomancy, as well as Natalie from Sanskrit Blue. So that's going to be coming up in an hour and a half's time. So so it's going to be a busy afternoon, and I'm so looking forward to the Marielle chat. It's going to be amazing. So I hope some of you can come back and join me for that as well too. Welcome. So who else is here? Lydiane is here, and Nina, Sharon, hello. And Joel, Deck Harlot. I'm sorry, I do not know your name, but I might know your name. I have this list. Go onto my list, Deck Harlot, if you want to type it in the chat, or, some people don't like to share their name on YouTube, so that's totally cool too. But if I do have it written down, I want to check. I'm pretty sure I don't. Okay. So hello, Deck Harlot. Welcome. And Fatima, welcome. I am well. Thank you. Thank you for asking. Donna, hello. And Maria, hi, how are you? Welcome. So what I am going to do, sad face for watching the Maria later. Well, you can watch the replay. What I am going to do after this, so my partner and I are having a massive garage sale, indoor garage sale. He has a huge space where we can display our stuff. Moon Dust Essence Tarot, hello, welcome to you. I also don't know your name, so if you want to share, please feel free to type that in the chat. So I will be on my local Facebook marketplace. I will be putting these decks up, so I'm sure they'll all be gone. There's quite a few tarot readers where I live, and I have connections. Let me change glasses because these blue light glasses look horrible on the screen. So you guys have first dibs for sure. You're all really important to me, and if you want to, I feel like those people who are on YouTube know my tarot, my love for tarot the most. And so I would love to give you guys first dibs if you're interested. So make sure you check out the description box below, and you'll see what's left from last year as well as what's left from the other day. And thank you for everybody who's purchased decks already. It really helps to create space. As far as the depth year, I really don't feel I'm going to be buying any more new decks, and there's a few that I would love to have. I would love to have the mini Lily White, and I have ordered like ages ago, backed a few Kickstarters, and there's a few that will be coming, but my intention is to really spend time and with everything that I have, because there's so much that I have that I haven't worked with, and I don't need all these decks. So yeah, I will be continuing to make tarot videos. I love tarot. I love teaching tarot. Teaching tarot is one of my favorite things. I was a high school teacher for many years, and it's just something I love to do. So my Tarot Foundations class starts in March, and I believe there's a couple spaces left in that. So if you're interested and you haven't signed up, we're going to start with, hello Mimi. Dee, did I say hi to you? Okay, welcome. So we're going to start with Black Lily, not to be confused with Lily Black. So this one is a Game Crafters deck. And if you like tattoo art, this was a deck that I saw so many times on Kasha's channel. You know Kasha, I'm sure. These are the backs. They're beautiful. So this is a small poker size deck. Small poker size. And there was just something, let me zoom in for you. There was something about this artwork that I found mesmerizing. And other than leafing through the deck, I have not worked with it at all. So it feels, you know, I'm just looking at this now. I think if I was doing a double, okay, this was another pressure purchase. I purchased the Blood Moon. And I have a feeling that this deck might look really nice if you were doing 2 tarot decks with the Blood Moon. This deck does not come with a guidebook. I don't know. The creator is Aya Rosen, and I'm not sure if Aya has a PDF on her website or not. It's very feminine. There's lots of nudity. There's no full frontal nudity. It's deep. It's dark. This is a Queen of Wands. It's mysterious. This deck is mysterious. That's what I feel. I feel it's getting into dark corners of the psyche. Here's the Ace of Wands. What else do I want to show you? So yes, if you've ever, there's a Page of Cups. I don't believe there are any men in this deck. It's all feminine energy. And the Page of Wands. So this is something really interesting in a deck that I like, is that I have always believed that all 16 court cards, the energy of all 16 court cards are available in anybody in our lives of any age. So when I see a deck that has older pages, and there's a few of them out there, right? It really does, well, there is full nudity here. So it's just such interesting artwork. What am I saying? I like it. I like it because we can see that youthful quality in lots of our friends. And I'm sure you know a lot of adult pages out there. The trouble comes for a lot of us when we see really youthful queens and kings. And I think that is a little harder to swallow. But I think in considering what I just said, that might be an important consideration to look at. So there we do. Well, it says Hanged Man, but it is a woman. Interesting that she didn't change the name of the card. Look at this Nine of Wands. It's very intriguing. Yeah. So for those of you that are just coming in, this is a Game Crafter deck. It's the Black Lily Tarot by Aya Rosen. Yeah. There's the Queen of Cups. So what am I saying here? This is interesting because for me, I am contradicting myself. A lot of decks that have younger kings and queens, I find very challenging to work with. But I'm okay with older pages and knights. So I need to think about that because why? Because I need to. I think that's important. So the aces are animals. I think I showed you one other ace before. Crimson Tarot, hello. Welcome. All right. So that is one. That is one. Like I said, poker size, super easy to shuffle. Game Crafter makes great cards. These are the beautiful backs. I didn't do any shuffling last time, but you know, there's something about these smaller decks, and so this would fit into the category of smaller cards because it is poker size. The next one is one that I have put some love into, is the Legrand Circus and Sideshow Tarot. I believe this is now out of print, and I adjusted the price a little bit to reflect that. Please know that with all of these decks, I have all of the little white books, the large books, and the extra cards, so you'll get all of that with it. This is a really interesting deck, and I spent quite a bit of time with it. The box is really fun. Look at the box. One of the things I liked about when I did quite a personal reflection on this deck when I was edging it. I trimmed it and edged it. It's edged it. I edged it in red and I've trimmed it. It's an okay trim job, but I think it looks really good with the borders removed. So what do I want to say about this deck? I feel like I learned something because this is a backstage view of life in the circus. And it gets us to look at some of the harsher realities of life through the viewpoint of hardworking individuals. And I don't know. I remember when I don't use it because I don't use it, but there's something quite deep and profound about this deck. And just the fact that these people, the characters in this deck, are a family, right? So the characters in all 78 cards are a family. They travel together, they live together, they work together. Presumably, they have time to play together. And we do see the audience in this deck, but this deck is mostly about behind the scenes and the workers. And so there's a slight difference in energy if you take that into consideration when you're reading with this deck. The Two of Cups is two trapeze artists. So yeah, this is and I think about the relationship of these people when I use this deck. And this deck, I don't know, this deck is, to me, is bittersweet. Hello, Tree Flower Tarot, and Elena, welcome. So yeah, so this is one. And just so you know, the guidebook, all the information that I have gleaned from this deck is from my personal dissection of this deck. This is a 2015 US Games deck. And the guidebook is quite good. It goes into, I mean, it's a little white book, but it's definitely not, and I've got a couple of highlights in here. So for example, the suit of coins in the Grand Circus, in Le Grand Circus, the suit of coins is what is known as the entertainment industry, as the front end. This is the realm of the management, the butchers. They who butch, that is, sell the novelties in concession for their living, and all the other various non-entertainers who work to keep the show on the road. Theirs is the business of money and the realm of wealth. Yeah. Anyway, I love the box, love looking at the box. So that's the Grand Circus and Sideshow Tarot. And it's funny, you know, I'm hesitating here because I don't use the deck, but every time I pull it out, I have this kind of clunk in my throat about it. So yeah. Okay. Next is White Sage. This is the indie version of the deck. I do have the what do you call it? I do have the Tarot in a Tin. This is the one that came from the Kickstarter. I believe it was a Kickstarter. It might have been another crowdfunding. And this one is a larger deck. It comes in a 2-part box. There's a lot of PDFs that are available for this deck if you haven't worked with it. These are the backs, same backs as the Tarot in a Tin. You can't get this version anymore. And these are tarot size cards. One of the issues people had with the indie deck was the large white borders. And so those borders were made smaller. Sorry, it's quite bright here. It's hard to see. This is silver. It is easy to read. It's just a little it's hard to read because I have a lot of bright lights on my table. People didn't like the large white borders. I have done, oh my goodness, how many videos on this? I've done a lot of videos on this deck because I'm a yoga instructor and a yoga teacher trainer. I do a lot of meditation classes and this kind of thing. I really wanted to spend some time with this deck and see if this deck was in alignment, you know, if Teresa's intentions for the deck were in alignment with how I was working with the chakras, and if I could use this at teacher training, or if I could use this as a chakra medicine kind of deck. Pussy Willows are the suit of wands, which they're so pretty. The ribbons that appear in the cards are a secondary layer. Is it a soft deck? I suppose. Pussy Willows. Maybe. I think the colors are. The colors definitely, you have to appeal to you. What I was saying was the ribbons, the colored ribbons represent a certain chakra. So there is potential to bring in another layer if that is of interest to you. So in the Six of Pentacles, the second layer would be Manipura chakra. And you could look at medicine of Manipura through the lens of the Six of Pentacles. So there's lots of animals in this deck. There's also Egyptian mythology. Hello, Eve. Welcome. There's a small little white book that comes with this, and then there's lots of PDFs you can do to research this deck. So yeah. So this is the tarot. These are tarot-sized cards. The version that you can get through US Games now, the cards are smaller, and it's a tarot in a tin. And I will also be releasing probably, I think I will be, and I could sell them together if you wanted. Also, I have the indie version of the Oracle, of Teresa's Oracle as well too. And I'm selling them because I'm not using them. One of so the pentacles are sand dollars. Pentacles are sand dollars. And if you like sand dollars and pussy willows and the elephants, oh gosh, I'm glad I'm going to keep the tarot in a tin. But yeah, the elephants are really beautiful in this deck. So if you go to my page and you want to see a discussion about my viewpoint on the chakras, you can search White Sage Tarot on my channel. Now this doesn't work if you're doing it on a phone. It's really weird the way the phone apps, the YouTube app works on the phone. It's better to do searches on people's channels on your computer, and then you can just search within a channel. It's really hard to do that on an iPad and an iPhone. But I've done like 3 or 4 videos on, maybe 3 videos on the White Sage Tarot and the Sister Oracle deck as well too. Okay, so that's that one. Hello, My Heart's Journey. My Heart's Journey. I also don't have your name written down. Okay, so if there's anybody whose channel name is different than their name and you would like me to call you by name, you're invited to type that into the chat as well too. Okay. Crystal Visions. Now, of course, this deck is available. You can get a new clean copy. Why in the world would you want to buy my copy? Well, the only reason would be is if I trimmed it. So if you're afraid of trimming, I have done that with this deck. And I edged it in pink and purple. The thing that I love about this deck are the dragons. The Suit of Wands in this deck is really beautiful. Again, this is another deck that I'm not using. It's really, really pretty deck. Like I said, the dragons are my absolute favorite. And this is one of those decks where you have very youthful queens and kings. Deep connection to nature in this deck. I'm going to try to get you some of my favorite cards. It's fun. It's really fun pulling out decks I haven't used for a long time. Definitely a feminine energy. There's also a fae, quality to this deck. It's 10 of Cups. If you like lotuses, there's a lot of lotuses or lilies in this deck. That's the Queen of Pentacles. It might remind you a little bit of Shadowscapes. There's the Chariot. Where are all my dragon cards? They must be all together at the bottom. Knight of Swords is on a winged horse. Seven of Pentacles is a young woman with a baby. Very beautiful Eight of Cups. There's the Ace of Pentacles. Ace of Cups. I want to show you the Ace of Wands. It's one of my favorite cards. Dragon. There's lots of dragons. So lots of dragons in the, though this World card is, I think, very clever as well too. Okay, here's my favorite card in the deck. This Ace of Wands. I love that card. So yeah, the dragons are in the Suit of Wands. Yeah, it's funny. Sorry, I'm not talking very much. I'm looking at these cards thinking, But no, I'm going to let this deck is by Jennifer Galasso. It's a US Games deck. I have trimmed it and edged it in pink and purple. Have any of you backed the Dragon deck by the one UK deck? Three Trees Tarot. I'd like to see a video on decks you decided to keep and why. Oh, Sharon, I have so many decks. I could never do a video on that. That would be crazy. That would take me the whole day to do that. But I could do a video on, sure, why not? Like if my family was away for the weekend and I had nothing else left to do. It would probably take me 2 days, Sharon. That's right. Smoke, ash, and embers. Really? You would really like me to do that? Okay. Maybe I will. But that would have to be on a day on a weekend or something where there was nobody around, nobody bugging me. The dog would have to be in daycare. This is of course, the mass market version of this deck. And one of the things that I like about this deck, while Gabby was very, I want to say a rookie in the tarot, as far as a tarot reader goes, when she created this deck, I'm amazed every time I read the guidebook how much insight she has. And in a way, her insight reminds me a little bit of the insight I feel so in this guidebook, you get a smaller version of the card and you get a decent description on all of the cards. This is a very good guidebook, by the way. What is her name? WTF is Tarot. I'm drawing a blank. Like they could be sisters and they could write a tarot deck together for sure. This is a shiffer box, shiffer deck. So the box opens this way. The ribbons still work. The box is intact. This is one of their older boxes. Unlike their newer boxes, that all kind of fall apart. But the deck is divided in 2 pieces. I have not trimmed this one. That was on the to-do list, but I've decided that I just don't use this deck enough. The only reason for me to keep this deck would be because of teaching chakra readings and stuff like that. Makara, that's right, Makara Whitner. I feel like they could be sisters. Because the suit of wands in this deck, I believe this is sorted. This is tattoo art. I did a video on all of the tattoo art decks that I have. Jamie Sawyer's, and there's a 3. It's a diverse deck. There is definitely diversity in a lot of respects in this deck, which is not talked about. So I want to say, like, early on, Gabby was ahead of her time. And because I'm not sure what year the indie version of this deck came out. Now, one of the things and one of the reasons to trim this deck, of course, is because the titles exist within the artwork. So you don't need a second, you definitely don't need a second title on the card. It's really pretty. Okay, so I'm going to finish my sentence. The only reason why I would keep this deck is because I think it's super clever what she has done in the suit of wands. There's the Ace of Pentacles. Isn't that pretty? I'm just going to go to the suit of wands. It must be separated. Because I was using this deck for teaching. Yes, it is all sorted. Come on. Where's the wands? Okay, so the suit of wands. Suit of wands is pine cones. And she talks about, particularly, I'm going to go to the ace. There's the 9 of wands. 6 of wands. Look, there's a little eye there. So here's the Ace of Wands. So her analogy is that the pine cones are in the suit of wands because they represent the pineal gland. And she talks about the awakening of the third eye chakra and how the element of fire and the energy of this deck is connected to the third eye chakra. And it's a really interesting discussion. It's not necessarily the suit that I would place, the element that I would attach to awakening the third eye chakra, but it's a really interesting discussion. To look at the deck through that lens is quite clever. Yeah, so pineal gland, pine cone, right? So supposedly that little nut in our middle of our brain looks like a pine cone. So yeah. Joel says, I did not know that. Can somebody zap? Oh, yeah, right. Thank you for taking care of that, Joel. Hello, IL. Donna says, my favorite card. Let me go to Donna's comment. This one. My favorite card in that deck is the Nine of Swords with the tree goggles. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Pineal gland. Yes, pineal gland. And if you pronounce it another way, that might be the case, but I call it the pineal gland. Okay, so that's the Bone of Fire by Gabby Angus West. Deck's in great shape. It's not trimmed. I almost changed my mind on this morning because on Lisa Pepez's Facebook group, there was somebody who was talking about Don Michelle's channel, Boho Tarot, and how they had spent some time. So this is a magnetic opening from the side. This is also Schiffer, I believe. They had taken off the gold edges on their Shadowland, and I thought it looked really, really good. So Shadowland does have gold edges. It is a borderless deck. So if you were to take off the gold edges, you would need a guillotine cutter. So what she did was she took off the gold edges and etched it in black. And I thought, what a labor of love. To me, this is a fun, cute deck. This is not a shadowy deck by any means. I did a side-by-side of this deck with Le Mans Tarot. Mons Tarot, is that what it's called? The Mons Tarot. And I decided that because I didn't need both of them, I was going to keep this one. And I have never used it. Never used it. I mean, it's cute, but there's no point of me in keeping a deck that I don't use. This to me is not shadowy at all. It feels very much like a hug deck. It's really sweet. It's really sweet. I quite like the artwork. I featured this book. So a while back, I did a video on my top 10 tarot guidebooks. Top 10 tarot guidebooks, not little white books, but larger guidebooks that come with decks. I did a couple of videos like that. And this deck is by Monica Bodursky. And this is one of the guidebooks that definitely deserves mentioning as far as excellent guidebooks. The way that it is organized, it's got journal prompts, which a lot of people really, really like. Oh, and this fun little feature on the side. Look at the spider here. So isn't that fun? I love the cleverness of that. And another reason that this guidebook for me, I want to see a bibliography and a guidebook. I also want to know about the creator, and this guidebook won on so many counts. I actually created a point system, and that was actually a really fun series. I enjoyed doing that. So that's the Shadowland Tarot. Hello, Birag. Yes, the Tulku Oracle deck. I want to do a video on that. I have been in contact with the creator, and on February 25th, I am going to do an interview with the creator. I'm just going to check my calendar so you have the date. Yes, so in 3 weeks. In 3 weeks' time, I'm going to do an interview with the creator, Carla, her name is, I believe, of the Tulku Oracle. Now, before that, I'm going to do a review. So there'll be my I'm going to discuss the deck and do that, and then a few days later, I'm going to interview Carla. So yeah, so that is coming up. Okay. Just looking at your comments. So make sure you put things in caps or highlight me if you have anything you want me to speak to. All right, how are we doing for time? 36 minutes. All right, the next one is this one. So this is a double. This is a double. This deck really kind of intrigued me. The Book of Shadows. So one of the decks that I am selling, this is from a previous video, is the Pagan Tarot. I have this version, which is for sale. This is the version with borders. Do you know this deck? I also have the kit, which is the borderless version with the better, sorry, this one's all packed and ready to ship. So this is quite an interesting book, deck, the Pagan Tarot, and you can, it's linked below. I showed it in a previous Divesting decks live stream. But the reason I'm showing you that is it reminds me a little bit of this deck. So Book of Shadows is a Lo Scarabeo publication. It is magnetic opening. And the two decks, so one has blue borders, one has green borders. We have color images in the guidebook. And for a 2-deck book, it's not very thick, but I believe it's Barbara Moore. So Barbara Moore, as I'm sure you know, writes a great guidebook. This is the As Above deck. And wow, I really like this card with the gnome. It's a great card. Also, we get the Sabbats in this deck. So there are Sabbat cards. Let's see, Ace of Fire. I'm sure you can see side by sides of As Above, So Below. Well, here's the 10 of Fire. Okay, so this is the As Above deck. And one of the ways to work with this deck is to do maybe a 3-card As Above, So Below. So the energy of below is what you see in that Pagan Tarot deck, right? This is our earthly experience. I did not back the Baroque Tarot, no. Maria, it's funny you asked that question. I don't know that I have a number. I'm asking my partner to design a cabinet in the motorhome. So it is entirely dependent on the cabinet where the tarot decks will go, because most recreational vehicles do not have a built-in tarot cabinet. And so this is an important thing for me, right? Because this is part of my life. So this is the So Below deck. And I kind of like this one, actually. If you like contemporary decks that focus on the energy of the here, of this earth, but it also has a little bit, you could compare the So Below to Everyday Enchantment. You think that's funny, Andrew? Yeah. So yeah, so this deck does remind me a little bit of Everyday Enchantment by Poppy Palin. That's a Queen of Pentacles. Isn't that nice? There's great diversity in this deck. What year was this? I'm just curious what year this is. I don't know which one came out first either. Maybe that will. So this is 2012. First edition 2012. This edition is 2017. I don't know if they came out at the same time. You might want to, I don't know what your feeling is, but this might be, if you don't have a contemporary deck in your, I'm humming and hawing. I really like this So Below deck. The Six of Wands has such a different energy, right? So this Six of Wands is approaching, right? Approaching the peak of the mountain, as opposed to, I just feel like the art in the RWS Six of Wands is so arrogant and so, I don't know, so egotistical. Sharon's, what does Sharon say here? Oh, yes, it is very important that you ask hubby to design a tarot cabinet for you, right? And so you need to figure out which decks you have, and maybe you have one shelf for tall boxes, and then the rest of the shelves are small boxes, and it has to have the most, the strongest magnetic closure. Like you've got to have, yeah. Isn't life funny? These are the first world problems, right? Designing the tarot cabinet for the RV. Laugh, 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 laugh. Andrew, I'm not even going to look at it. Not even going to look at it. So in answer to your question, Sharon, there could be easily 40 or more tarot decks in small boxes, and the same number of oracles in small boxes, and then one shelf would have, like maybe 10 large boxes. But I'm trying to, I'm really trying to get rid of all of my large box decks. But I had a hard time. I had a few out today that I was going to show you, and I put them back because I need to think about them again. And of course, I know they can go into bags. I know that. The other thing anyway, this is a process, right? So this is the first group. The next one is this one. This is, the guidebook is great. It's by Isha Lerner, and I have three decks by her, 3 guidebooks by her. The artwork. So all of the guidebooks by Isha Lerner are published by Bear and Co. And each of the decks is a different artist. So this one opens from the side. Candy, Soul, and Soil. It's from her channel that I decided to purchase this. I purchased it not too long ago. I thought I had a specific client. These cards are huge, and I'll show you how big they are in a second. They're oracle size. This is an absolutely fantastic guidebook. And so this is one of those decks. For every single card, you have a different fairy tale. But the nice thing is that the fairy tale is succinct. You know, you don't have to read 3, 4. Oh, actually, it's not. I just need to look at this for a second. No, this is oracular. There's an oracular description. And then she talks about the archetypes in each of the fairy tales and applies it to the card. It's very, very well done. Again, this is a deck that I would keep maybe if I was younger and I had more time to study. So I want to show you the cards, and then I'll show you how big. Well, you can tell how big these are because I haven't adjusted the camera. The cardstock is thin, so even though they're huge, you can shuffle the cards. The cardstock is very thin, okay? Like really, really thin. But if you like to riffle shuffle, that is important. They're really beautiful. Really, really beautiful. Okay, I'm going to get you a tarot card just so you can see how big these are. That's how big they are. And you know what? I don't think I would want to trim them. The borders are so beautiful. At some time back, I was working with quite a few children, and this is why I picked this deck up. I'm not sure that I would want children shuffling it, but they could certainly hold one card. This might be a really good deck as well too for a child psychologist or somebody who works in the school system individually with children. You know, if you work in any capacity with children or with doing inner child work. I mean, that Ace of Wands is so gorgeous. So gorgeous. So yeah, so this is the inner child cards. A Fairy Tale Tarot by Isha Lerner and Mark Lerner, illustrated by Christopher Guilfoyle, with a super thick guidebook. And the introduction, one of the things I like about her guidebooks is the introductions. She does a really good job in yeah. And I have, there's no marks in this. This size, it's brand new. Brand new. So, oh, I changed the camera. I just want to show you. These cards are so pretty. So pretty. You know, I just had this random thought. I had this, another, they're vastly different sizes, but what if you did sort of a two-part reading where you use this deck for the inner child and you used crystal visions for an older version of self. So you were working with a 20-something with some kind of mental health issues. I had a lot of those in my life. Seems to be very common these days. And so you used a deck like yeah, like crystal visions. You used crystal visions for the current version of self, and you use something like this for the younger. That might be really the possibilities with tarot and how to use tarot are just limitless. They really are. I mean, it's such a, we are so, I want to say fortunate. I mean, also cursed because there's just way, way too many decks out there. But if you have particular niches and a particular clientele that you want to work with, there really is a deck for every client. Or for yourself, if you're looking for specific certain aspects of healing for yourself. And or bone fire for the older self. Ooh, yes, that's a good idea. Dee says I have to go live in a cave. So, Eve, I hope you saw that. Yes, they are really big. Yeah, but you can riffle shuffle them because they are paper thin. Yes, but I feel like if it was a 20 something that they wouldn't understand the pagan other worlds. So that's why I suggested crystal visions or bone fire might be a good choice for that. Yeah. Okay, my friends. I am going to reboot everything. So we have awesome reception for my next live stream, which is going to be with Natalie and Chris coming up in about a half hour's time. So go grab your Marielle tarot decks. There are 9 questions in the Marielle chat. They are in the description box below. So if you want to do a little bit of preparation for that live stream, you could go and have a look at those questions so that when those questions come up, you're ready to respond. And of course, if you have other questions you want to ask the 3 of us, that is a great forum for that as well too. Donna, you are so funny. I am not getting rid of the Lily White Tarot, you funny person. My God, you make me laugh. You make me laugh. Okay, lovely people. I will see you very soon. Take good care. Bye for now.